didn't do what I was told.
Welcome to a special edition of World at War. I'm your host, Dean Ryan, and this evening we have a major exclusive and a major follow-up to a very viral story that has pretty much has been a mainstay in the headlines within recent days, and that's cold fusion. All the talk around the world right now is this new breakthrough with hot fusion to offset cold fusion, which James Martinez, who's going to be joining us this evening, is going to talk about. What does this mean? What kind of propaganda are they trying to use to offset the true breakthrough in new energy? And I don't mean the green police that live inside of our heads. No, I'm talking about the actual cold fusion. James, welcome back to World at War.
Hey, thanks very much. How are you doing?
Doing good. When I saw the article that Mike Adams put out there, oh my God, this has to be a major breakthrough. So naturally, I called you. But anyways, how have you been, and what have you been up to?
Well, I've been in meetings in Europe. I've been in France, Spain, Switzerland, and now I'm in Great Britain. And during that time, I've had a lot of meetings with friends. I grew up in Europe, so I have lots of friends and people in Europe, but I've had a lot of private business meetings with everything from small business people to extremely wealthy business people regarding the big changes having to do with the energy crisis, which is looming and has started shutting down businesses and causing major problems. When I first arrived in France, I had a meeting with very wealthy people in Saint-Tropez, actually. And in private conversations I had with them, I said, your energy costs are going to go through the roof and it's going to bankrupt you. And of course, they were very quiet and reticent of listening to anything further because they just didn't want to believe it. But about a month later, some of those same people came knocking on my door and came and told me that they received a letter from their own government in France that their energy costs would be going up 700%.
700%. So you're telling me that the energy cost in Europe alone has gone up 700% and I remember you telling me this, what was this, about 2 months ago?
Yeah, that same person and some of those people came to me and with their jaws dropped to the ground saying, I can't run my business anymore. It's over. I have to sell it. And they're rearranging. Many people are. They're not protesting in the streets. They're reorganizing and having private meetings among themselves on how to survive because most of their business is going to be shut down. People are looking for jobs. People are selling their companies. People are taking their wealth and trying to reinvest or adapt to this punishment, I would call it, to all the businesses all over Europe. But I specifically was speaking to business people in France. In Switzerland, it's quite different, as you can imagine, in
Yeah.
terms of wealth and the citizenship there. But in Spain, the same thing is happening. So these people are being demolished. Those are the people that are really wealthy, they will be able to survive and be able to.
You kind of middle of the road, middle income, like middle America in
Yeah.
a sense. But I'm puzzled. Why has the energy gone up 700%? What is the official statement on that? Why that is, and then what is the true, reason why that is taking place across Europe right now?
Well, as many people know, the climate crisis is being used as a tool to bankrupt and destroy businesses and families and everyone, to put them in a position of dependency, having so that the state can control all energy output and the carbon footprint, which has been discussed hundreds, if not thousands of times on networks all over the world at this point. People just didn't believe it.
Looking for solutions in green cities, in civic engagement, in climate justice, in circular economy, in order to protect our nature. Climate justice.
That we will end up with many more unemployed. But we will see definitively a lot of anger. This crisis will be with us until we really have found a remedy. Tie government aid to the green economy which we have to create.
What does a green industrial revolution look like?
We still want roads, so we need cement that you have to call green cement. We still want to be able to fly around, so you have to have aviation fuel that is made without any emissions at all. In some cases, you have a radical change, like there's ways of making a ground beef equivalent that doesn't involve the cow at all. The U.S. will move into a strong leadership role where we'll be using our power of innovation, we'll be creating new industries, including the jobs around those in the United States. If those two bills don't get through, I would say the U.S. is very disappointing. I get excited about is coming up with a way of generating energy.
And I see the need for action. I see the need for a great reset.
The ones that I spoke to in Europe, they just couldn't believe that could be possibly happen. They expect when their energy was going to go up, it was going to go up like 50% on how to survive. Basically, people are asking other people for jobs immediately.
Right.
And there was a very quiet meetings behind the scenes. I've been to multiple countries, and I've had meetings with the really rich and the really poor. They're being destroyed.
So basically, the power structure and all their oligarchs are pretty much, they cause the crises, obviously, but they're telling people that the solution is to invest in green technology and all the green initiatives. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, I just got in from Paris yesterday, and I was driving in a taxi on my way to a restaurant for a meeting. People will laugh if they looked in Paris because there's no energy crisis there. There's lights everywhere. It's decorated.
Really?
There isn't a care in the world that's going on there that nobody would ever presume anything is wrong. All the most exclusive stores, the most top businesses, designers, there's no energy crisis there at all.
Why is that? No, why is that? Why is
Well, I
Paris
was
not
told,
rocked by it?
it's for tourists. That's what the excuse is. But I went across the street from Dior. I went across the street from Gucci. I went across the street from Salvador Ferragamo and Armani and the whole fashion district and all that stuff.
All my shopping stops. Yeah.
Yeah. Designers, including the pedophile ones that are run by pedophiles. All of them are in full display, and all the trees and streets are all lit up. There's no energy crisis going on, and if there is, they're not going to allow all the money from tourism that comes in for the holidays to deter that. Because I was making jokes with locals about it, and I said, "So this is the energy crisis we're talking about, right?" And they go, "Ha, yeah." It's all a big kind of facade and joke to the French,
Now,
at least.
this is really news to a lot of Americans and probably a lot of the West, because a lot of people are very entrenched in their own domestic issues at the moment, and locally, regionally as well. What is the most rocked country of this very dire matter over there in Europe? What seems to be the biggest victim
Germany.
of it all? Germany?
Germany. I have contacts in Germany that I spoke to frequently, and they're just being demolished. Even though there's some good news that's come out of there in the last 24, 48 hours, but not in terms of energy. I know people in major universities and big businesses there. There's a major reconstruction of the entire automotive industry. I was in Switzerland meeting with somebody there that's tied into the Porsche family, and they are royalty in Austria and Germany and so forth, and they run the whole Volkswagen automotive industry. And the automotive industry is toast, basically, because they don't have an energy source or a car, an automotive scenario that's going to work in terms of moving everything over to green automobiles and electric cars. It's just not going to work. Because I met with BMW people. I met with other people in Switzerland. I can't mention their names, but they're not prepared to go fully electric or green at all.
No,
not at all. The only country that has a shot because of the infrastructure and the way it's set up is Switzerland. And I was there in Switzerland in Stade, and that's like a different planet there. It's a neutral country, and all the money's there.
interesting that you say that. Now, as you're saying that, it was just announced just days ago by Uber, which I saw coming from a mile away, that they were going to begin their manless car transport for passengers starting in Las Vegas. Now, last time they did this, it wasn't very successful. The car blew up and all kinds of accidents. There's no accountability or oversight. And they're also trying to do this with the freight in the United States with truck drivers. So they couldn't be more pleased to really up the ante on biodiesel fuel, which is the most cheapest to make. But you would think that it's the crystal of just petrol. And so they plan on doing this to all service sectors, starting with the transportation class, as you can plainly see. But I don't see this going too well because the unions aren't going to like this. And if there's any strong unions across the world, definitely places like Paris have strong unions. England is all unionized to a degree. Do you see a pushback from just that, the strong, influential unions, or have they just rolled over, and allowed this to happen?
I haven't heard anything from any major union group as to what actions they're going to be taking to facilitate their own survival at all, because like you said, what Uber has done, they plan that way in advance and use their drivers to collect data and to perfect their systems. The drivers, the use of employees as drivers, they were just used to facilitate and increase their AI learning from the drivers by their mistakes and by the feedback from the passengers. The whole thing is it's a
bait and switch
behavioral design program, and it has nothing to do with getting you from A to B. Those transportation systems are set up as media ecology behavioral science programs to perfect and train passengers to desensitize personal space, not use money, and be prepared to have robot drivers, which is exactly what's coming.
Wow. That is so true, James. It is now the official introduction to automation, and it's going to be just in the nick of time as the universal income, basic income, is going to be introduced across the board. And just to add insult to the deep state injury, well, they have the Medical Death Panel Assistance Program, aka the Dr. Kevorkian Assistance kind of a program, if you will, just now rolling out in Canada. And then, surprise, surprise, well, they've had it in California since 2016, but now they're going to start showing their teeth. So we see the world in a major uproar of calamity that is spreading like wildfires. But, another thing that is spreading like wildfires, because this is a war of duality, is the light, the positive side, is people are protesting all over the place. In Peru, just, recently, and probably as we speak, they're rising up. China's rising up. People are fighting this New World Order layout that is being rolled out to us for humanity and saying, no more, enough. We're not going to do any more lockdowns. And we don't want your green initiatives. We're not all for this. And it doesn't do them any favors. Roland Klaus Schwab out there at the UN, that's not winning any support of this. So let's get into this now, because they're going all out in the climate change initiatives and all the green initiatives. They're rolling out. They're not stopping. But just the other day, we saw the following, and this came out of Natural News, as you know. Hot fusion breakthrough only allowed because of cold fusion. Lennar revolution now underway. That's right, he says the Department of Energy announced a breakthrough in a hot nuclear fusion, a net gain of energy from the fusion experimental Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California. I believe that you might have grazed, and falsely reported. And so let's get into this and what this means, as people like Lockheed Martin are looking to patent this, and other kind of big players here. What does this all mean?
I got texts and messages from all over the world from that, because originally I spoke to Mike Adams many years ago, telling him that this cold fusion LENR thing was in development and was the only feasible way of doing anything. The announcement that came out, I had it perfectly clarified to me from scientists and CEOs of companies that I deal with, that technology, or the energy that it would amount to, isn't even going to go into the grid. It's not for you. It's for the storage and facility of something else. I looked at the announcement on the DOE website because the link was sent to me, and I can send that to you if you wish. But and it says clearly that that even that energy is, we don't get any of it. It's for something else. So the announcement was ambiguous, vague, and basically said nothing. It was more to appease a lot of people and divert their attention in a different area. However, Mike Adams did have it 100% totally correct. What happened, and I told him, and I've told many people on various networks all over the place, is at the ICC 24, which was the cold fusion event where all the scientists meet from all over the world that are involved with this, met in near the Google headquarters in Mountain View, California, and they had an LENR device running there. Now, everybody that was there fully aware of what this company is doing, and they're the current leaders in the field. And the company's name, Berlin Energy. They are the leaders in the cold fusion era. However, cold fusion has not been fully financed, even though our own government knows exactly what the true capabilities are. And I might say, this is the first really announcement anywhere. I'm due to discuss it with quite a few other networks in the next week or two. But there has been an exchange, an agreement, an exchange between LENR Technology and a billion-dollar company. It's the first time in history that this has taken place. I've been waiting for quite some time to determine whether or not there's going to be a press release or any kind of official announcement about that. And due to the nature of it and the technology itself, I was given the whole details of the entire agreement, and it was decided upon that there wouldn't be any press release on this whatsoever. However, I was told, and it was suggested, that I could go and speak to whoever I wanted to regarding the exchange, mostly because I've been talking about this since about 1990. I was involved in '89 when the first announcement occurred, and I've been involved speaking about this all over the world. I've been on local, national, international. I've been documentary films about this because I was telling everybody this is the way out. So yeah. The good news is, and I need everybody to understand this, that this business has been legitimized now. It's been legitimized because there's been an exchange that's going on. I can't get into details of what it's going to be used for, but it has started. Now, I would tell the public, because I'm on the side of the public, mostly. If you want to see this come out, you're going to have to put some sweat equity into it. That means U.S. investment has to go into this in order for it to come out and actually do any good, because the United States and any other government, they're not going to come out and tell you what's going on, and the fact that they have this, they know the capabilities of it, and they could have had this running 15 years ago, easy, if they wanted to, but that's not happened. And this effect of low energy nuclear reactions, for those that may be watching this for the first time, the easiest way to understand what I'm talking about, I would suggest people go to YouTube, put in cold fusion 60 minutes. That was produced many, many years ago. I have talked to all the producers about 6 months ago, and they're aware of what's going on now.
20 years ago, it appeared for a moment that all of our energy problems could be solved. It was the announcement of cold fusion, nuclear energy like that which powers the sun, but at room temperature on a tabletop. It promised to be cheap, limitless, and clean. Cold fusion would end our dependence on the Middle East and stop those greenhouse gases blamed for global warming. It would change everything.
That was, I think, over 10 years ago. They confirmed the LENR effect. Now, you imagine all the years after that and all the development. This is what will ultimately liberate the entire human condition, because it will allow for endless, super cheap energy that will heat houses. It's going to go into the heating market first, and this will ultimately go electric eventually. But it's going to have to be pushed.
You're frozen. You're frozen. All right, let's continue, shall we?
Okay.
Hold on.
I don't know
You
where it
shut
cut
up
off.
over there.
In summary, what I'm trying to tell people, and people will see this message not only on here, but on multiple venues in the next month. It'll be all over the place. It'll be a national issue. I know because Primetime's contacted me, so it's going to come out in some form. So people need to understand that the U.S. government or any other government is not going to tell them the truth about anything. They should have learned that by now. So they've censored their true announcement about fusion. That's not a lie, but it's not practical, and it's not going to come out for 15 years, and it's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars. What is going to come out, if the public decides, will be cold fusion. So my suggestion is that people learn about the company. It's called berlewinEnergy.com. Look at all the research themselves. Mike Adams was absolutely correct in his assessment, and this is what's going on behind the scenes. So this is a very, very big deal. I've been waiting close to 30 years for this to happen, and it's finally happened. And a lot of military people have contacted me. Political people have contacted me. I spoke to 60 Minutes about it about 6 months ago. They're aware of what's about to happen. ARPA, which is the predecessor to DARPA, their energy division is about to do something with this as well. It's sitting on the table. I saw it, all of this in development at the ICC 24 near Google headquarters. So, none of this stuff comes out in any digestible information for the general public at all. It's very vague, and they did nothing with their announcement except mislead people. So I've been asked to basically clean all that up and come out and tell people what's really going on. That's basically, in a nutshell, what's happened.
Now, you mentioned people have to demand this, and I totally agree. If people want any sort of freedom or any sort of liberty whatsoever, whether it's in their own household or on a international or national level, people have to demand it. Could one of the solutions to that is people really working with their local congressman or council in England? Is that a good start?
Elected official or somebody that's running for office, this should be on their platform. Absolutely. And the reason that people don't understand the effects. Think of technology in terms of effects on what this is going to do, because it is an arrangement where everybody can win, because it will allow people to decentralize. It will lower costs. It will save the planet. It'll fix a lot of problems that we've had. And also it's going to completely, totally change the human condition entirely, which is a medial ecological effect, which is actually happening right now, because the people that are aware of what's going on, they're completely, totally thinking in completely different ways than has ever happened before now, because they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So this means imagine running your house and all the heat and electricity in it for like $20 a year. That's feasible now. They know that.
Yeah, it's feasible. It is feasible. Would you say from the last time we spoke about where things were in this whole process, would you say that it has dramatically progressed since the last time we spoke? Because, here we are again speaking about cold fusion, not with so much, an undertone of defeat, but almost a little bit of promise. Would you say that's a
it's
good
promise,
description?
because the line has been crossed. There's money has changed hands. Agreements have been made. NDAs have been signed. Long negotiation took place before this meeting of technology and big business met. It took a very, very, very long time. for this to occur over a 30-year stretch. So this is a big deal, because I was asking executives, give me the press release when you have it. And they said, yeah, we'd love to do that. We'd love to put out a press release. It would be good for us and good for everybody else. But the other company didn't want to do that because it was too controversial. But I assure you, it has occurred. And this is going to be the beginning of this rollout. It's going to, but I would, for your audience and for the public and everybody else, nobody's coming to help you. You have to demand this out of your local officials and bring it up to them. Because most local people that are running for office, they don't know anything anyway. They're just going to respond to what the people want. But the people are so unaware of what this is and what it would do to their own family and their own city and everything else that they need to look into it. And then they need to put their people under pressure to put it on their policy.
James, I had, just as a census, you talk to a lot of people in very prominent positions in the political spectrum for a long time about a host of different host of issues, really. Who would you say is the most susceptible to the cold fusion narrative and idea? Would you say it's more the Democrats, liberal-minded politicos out there who, they say they want a cleaner world. They want to, just have a clean environment with green this, green that. Wouldn't they be the most drawn to this, would you say? Or is that not the case?
No, because they're a big fraud. Because if they wanted this out and they really wanted a green economy, this would be all over the news every single day, all the time. And that has not happened whatsoever. That's a complete lie. And as I've said many times, the whole green movement is nothing more than a tool to control people. If they really wanted to save the planet and they really wanted to do something, they could have done that in the 50s. But that's not what it's about. So I don't think it's a red or a blue issue
Right.
per se. And there's a lot of major people involved behind the scenes. You're going to see the coming out of some very influential people in the next month or two that have been involved quietly behind the scenes. I know Mike knows about it. I've been waiting for a certain time to deliver that to the public so they're aware of where we're at. This isn't actually a good sign in terms of something for humanity. I've always fought for this for a very, very long time, and my involvement I was involved with it because of I was one of the original MK Ultra whistleblowers with Walter Boert, who wrote the book Operation Mind Control. And when we went through all our, study of what the world was going to be in the late, 2000s onward, the people on the board of the Freedom of Thought Foundation, Colonel Fletcher Prouty, Colonel Tom Bearden, Walter Boert, myself, a private list of psychiatrists and psychologists and other people that didn't want their name mentioned, all said the only way we're going to survive is through the deployment of advanced technology in the form of use of hydrogen for cold fusion. 30 years later, here we are.
I would also add to that too is decentralization.
Yes.
The old playbook of everything centralized. Centralized
and
planning.
add, and this is important to add because
Please do.
And this is important for mutual people that we know. The crypto world is all based on energy. I've had so many crypto people come to me over the last 10 years and sell me over and over and over again. Crypto this, crypto that. And I always tell them, well, do you own the energy? And they never have an answer because they don't, which means crypto can be shut down anytime, any place by anyone. It can be stopped.
Well, it's free falling. It's free falling right now. Everything Bitcoin, everything crypto seems to be just falling through the crack.
None of it surprises me. And I always told people, if you don't own the energy that makes up and mines their coin, you've got nothing because you don't own the energy. You bought it, came out of the wall, and you mined. And if you don't control that, you've got nothing, and they can shut you down at any time.
That's true.
So they never liked to hear that. And I had a lot of the Bitcoin super wealthy people come to me. I had the Ethereum people come to me. BSV came to me. Other from other countries came to me, and I all told them the same story. And I have people coming to me now, and I said, this is what you need to look out for, and the public needs to look out for, is there's going to be an energy token based upon the energy that comes through that's ignited by cold fusion in the future. I know because
Interesting.
I've seen all the plans for it. And that's what's going to happen.
Interesting.
Energy credit. That's to be a little bit down the road, but that's what's going to happen because the money's going to evaporate entirely. It's evaporating now.
It is. I want to just bring this up real quick because a lot of people have now witnessed the kind of exposure of the MK Ultra. Something that you were highly involved in way back when. I mean, you knew about the transgender, transhumanist kind of maneuver that was set forth in, I believe, 1990. I think you told me. But here we are again. We see, love, hate, or indifferent, what people like Kanye West have now completely exposed on the world stage of exactly what's being done to these Hollywood industrial complex thespians up there. Why they're all saying the same thing? Well, now we know that there are pharmaceuticals from gymnasium trainers, and that's how they're getting people literally to pretty much fall in line like a bunch of lemmings, another bricks in the wall. What do you think about what Kanye West is doing? Are people taking to that? Because he's also adding the hidden hand element to a lot of the social cluster freaks is Israel.
Well, here's what I have to say about that. I spoke to friends of his probably 6 months ago. I had people in the music industry and the political arena that were friends of his call me for a number of things. Some of it had to do with MK Ultra itself because they wanted to know some of the inner mechanics and how that came to be and what the capabilities were. And I told these friends, because I've had private meetings with a lot of people over the years, and it's my assessment that the only thing that will save the United States is Black America. And because it's not going to be white Americans, they failed. However, the only people that really haven't understood what's been done to them are the Black community. And I got a call today from somebody very prominent in the Black community, and they spoke to me about Yi, and I said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And whilst I listened very closely what he was saying on Alex Jones, and here's what I have to say about that is nobody gets a free pass. Nobody. Black, white, red, yellow, brown. We've all screwed each other over in some form or another. This includes religions. And this includes Jewish religions, because I have Jewish friends and I have Jewish enemies. I have white friends and I have white enemies. So what I'm saying is that he should be allowed to state how he feels and exercise his free speech. But when he does so, he needs to be careful in how he communicates what he's saying, because I understood what he's saying. But the way he said it and the way he delivered it caused him an enormous amount of problems. And people should look very closely about what happened to him when he did that. Because you can talk about anybody else.
Yeah.
Not about them. Not about big.
It's very cavalier. Very cavalier he is.
Yeah. And I think what he did was necessary, needed, and it needs to continue because nobody gets a free pass. Because I'm for uniting people, take the good with the bad. Whites have screwed over blacks, blacks have screwed over whites, whites have screwed up over American Indians have screwed over. And nobody gets a free pass, is what I'm trying to say.
No, you're absolutely correct.
We don't move forward unless we can be really honest about our faults that we've done to each other and our successes. And when he brings up stuff like that, everybody went nuts. And I was like, why? Most people feel like that. Sorry, but they're not allowed to talk about it, but nobody can say anything.
Well, it goes back to the old saying, James, as you know, and I'm sure you've often stated, but, you take the good, you take the bad, you put them together, then you have the facts of life. And that's what it all comes down to, is just everything, one big melting pot. Okay, so final just kind of assessment here is, we're now towards the end of the year. It's just kind of went by so fast. I was just getting comfortable with just Halloween, Thanksgiving. Here we are. It always happens that way. But when you look back now at 2022, how do you sum it all up in what has been deemed a very turbulent year, a year a lot of people kind of gave up on any kind of progression back into freedom or back to the way life was. People stopped following the news cycle. They gave up on supporting Trump, a lot of people, and any politicians for that fact. How do you sum up 2022? And then let's talk about what the outlook is for the new 2023 year.
2022 was the accumulation of years and years and years of psychological and mental, physical abuse against the public, and the surfacing of those elements that finally came in the form of biological terrorism against the human family. And the good news is that much of that has surfaced now, and people realize what's happened, that we are being eradicated. And in order to move ahead and move forward, we have to be really honest with ourselves. And a lot of people just aren't prepared to even deal with the truth yet. And those people are going to get left behind, because you can only do so much in warning people. Because I've had conversations all over the United States and in Europe now. And the damage that's been done by the deployment of this weapon against our genetic code is irreparable. And it will entirely change the nature of what it is to be human. Not to mention the attack on our children, which is the taboo of everything. I know people that specifically, that's all that they talk about is child abuse, which is fine, because if we can't save them, we can't save ourselves. And that thing should be on the top of the news at every major primetime network everywhere. And it's not, because people are very distracted by everything. So now that all of this has surfaced, and more dirty details are going to surface, 23 is going to be, my feeling is going to be the reckoning of people who are having to decide whether they're going to live or die. And they're going to have to determine whether the authority is the truth or the truth is the authority. Because there are no leaders, there are misleaders. And the people that are keep thinking that some elected employee is going to save them, they can forget it. Because all of these people are flawed. I don't care who you're voting for, none of them are perfect. And people are going to have to go through their own ascension process to determine if they're going to submit or not.
Right.
It's very simple. A lot of good things will happen in 23 if people assert themselves. But America is very, very damaged. Very damaged. People know that in Europe. They talk about it. They can't believe Americans are so weak. So weak.
Docile. Very docile. Yeah. And, to your point about coverage, and I wanted to bring this up during the Kanye West kind of segment, but it's so true. What they don't cover is what we should really be focusing on and looking at, in particular, like the Epstein trial. Well, we haven't heard a real, very focused kind of coverage on the Harvey Weinstein trial. And I'm asking myself, well, why is that? I thought he's public enemy, number one. But then it gets into the fact that he was using Israel's Mossad to go after victims or anybody that was a witness to his practices, and probably a whole lot more that we're not even privy of knowing. So I think that what Kanye West, although a little too cavalier, probably not the best messenger or deliverer, but he has courage and he has transparency. And, what he's doing, he's putting his life and entire brand on the line. But he knows that this is a moment in time for his people, for our people all over the world, to really use his bully pulpit and platform right now and frequency to do something that nobody has really truly done in modern history here, and shine a light on the cockroaches.
Absolutely. He's done the world a favor. It cost him hundreds of millions of dollars doing so, but it was necessary. And he's going to be more of a threat to the equilibrium in the election process in terms of media coverage and so forth than people expect. I can't talk too much further about that, other than some people are going to come to his side behind him.
Okay,
that are going to change everything for him in a good way. That I
Okay,
do.
well, yeah, please keep us up to date. James Martinez, I want to thank you for always returning to Real Deal Media here at World at War. We have an effective audience who just absolutely adores you, and they send their prayers and are always asking about you and making sure you're safe as you globetrot around the world. So thank you for coming on tonight. Really means a lot.
You got it. No problem.
And
Thanks
please
so much.
keep in touch with us. Okay, thank you very much, James Martinez, everybody.